Hey guys, YipzArena with another video, and this one today is going to be on a Warlock preparation guide for 7.1.5, and the topics I'm going to be covering are single target, multi-target, AoE for Mythic Plus, and then kind of more of a single target build for Mythic Plus. And yeah, I'm not going to go into huge depth out of every single build in here, so don't expect to learn about how to play every single build in this video, but what you can expect is just a brief overview and to know what sort of specs you should be playing. So the first spec that I think you guys should be playing is the Malefic Grasp, Soul Conduit, Siphon Life, Contagion, Supremacy build for single target. Now you will be running Supremacy over Service for single target because Supremacy doesn't require you to use soul shards on pets, so you don't have to use a soul shard for your Grimoire Spell Hunter, and you do not have to use a soul shard for your Summon Doomguard. And the reason that is important is because those shards could be used on an Unstable Affliction, and with Malefic Grasp increasing the dot damage by 80%, Unstable Affliction is just going to be able to hit so much harder than it would normally. So without further ado, really quick how to play this spec is going to be you want to maintain 3 dots on the enemy target, UA twice, Reap, and then Drain. So you're just kind of going to be going through this sort of a rotation the entire fight. If you're low on shards, instead of UAing twice, you're only going to UA 1 time. And so you're maintaining your dots, UA twice, Reap, and then Drain. So this is going to be the single target build that most players are going to be running come Nighthold. And although there are not a lot of single target fights, this one is going to do very, very good DPS for you, and it's going to be really enjoyable to run. So really look forward to that, guys. So yeah, this is going to be the single target build for Nighthold most likely. The next build that I wanted to go into is going to be the 2 target dotting build, and there are a couple ones that you can use, and I'm going to go over really quickly which ones I think you should be running. So the ones that you could use are going to be Writhe and Agony, Contagion, Siphon Life, Grimoire of Supremacy, Soul Conduit. So this is one of the builds I potentially think you could be running. It is worth noting that you could probably switch to Service when you're running with Writhe and Agony. It's probably going to be more of a preference thing, so run whichever one of these you want. Besides that, you could run Writhe and Agony, Contagion, Soul Effigy, or you could run Writhe and Agony, Writhe and Agony, Absolute Corruption, Soul Effigy. So these are the 3 builds I think you guys should be running. Now, the builds that I think most players are going to be running is going to be the Writhe and Agony, Absolute Corruption, Soul Effigy build, or the Contagion, Soul Conduit build. The Contagion, Soul Effigy build is the maximum DPS build, but it is quite hard to play, and I'm going to show you guys why it's hard to play right now. So let me just get my Doomguard out here. So the first build and the highest DPS build is going to be the Contagion Soul Effigy build, and the way that you want to work this is you want to maintain 3 dots on 3 targets and then shove in UAs when you can, like this. So you maintain these 3 dots, and you want to shove in UAs while you have the globals too, and then you want to maintain dots. So it's very, very intensive, and the thing is, if you generate too many shards, you're just not going to be wanting to dot your UA or your effigy with anything more than Agony. So if you find like your shard count's getting too high, just stop dotting your effigy as much, just maintain Agony on it, and then go back to dotting the main targets. So this is how this build is going to play out. It's going to be doing the most damage on 2 targets that's possible for a Warlock, but it's extremely high maintenance, and I don't think a lot of players are going to be running it just because of that maintenance that you have to maintain so many dots on so many different targets, like this. So yeah, I mean, while it is an extremely powerful build to run, I don't think many Warlocks are going to be playing it just because it's really difficult to maintain all these dots on multiple targets. So that's this build really quickly. The next builds I'm going to be showing you for multi-dotting are going to be way easier to play, way easier to run. So yeah, let's get into that real quick. So the other builds that I think everyone should be playing for the multi-target dotting is going to be the Absolute Corruption Soul Effigy build. So I'm going to go into the Contagion build first just so my corruption timers don't get all messy. So the Contagion Soul Conduit build is also going to be a viable one to run on multi-target, and that is because you just generate a lot of shards because of the Soul Conduit, and you can maintain really high uptimes on Agony or Unstable Affliction on 2 fully dotted targets with that Contagion buff. So even sometimes you'll probably be finding that you're running high on shards, and you can just go for a quick dump if you're finding yourself high on shards because of all the procs you're getting from Soul Conduit. So like this is how the build is going to play. You're just going to be maintaining those dots on 2 targets and spamming out those Unstable Afflictions like this. So yeah, fairly easy to play, fairly easy to run. My DPS is really high because I started with a good amount of shards and Reap stacks, but it will drop over time, especially because I have shards. So this is probably going to be the least highest of all the builds, but with RNG and things like that, it can obviously go extremely high and do extremely well for you. So this is another one of the builds I think a lot of Warlocks will be running for 2 target fights. I think it's fairly strong. I think Writhe and Agony is just too good to pass up on 2 or more targets, but Malefic Grasp could also be powerful as well. So that's this build. Now the next build that I wanted to go and talk about is going to be the Absolute Corruption Soul Effigy build. So the Absolute Corruption Soul Effigy build is going to be very powerful because you're going to be able to main 3 dots on 3 targets very easily. And with maintaining 3 dots on 3 targets extremely easily, you're going to be doing a crap ton of damage, obviously, because your dots hit extremely hard as a Warlock. So what you're going to want to do is maintain your 3 dots on every target, and then just dump UAs whenever the heck you want, whenever you have the time, right? Like this. And then just maintain that Agony and Siphon Life on these targets, like this. And then you just go back to spamming dots. So this is another viable build I think people will be running. It does require you to run Soul Effigy, but you know, nothing crazy. So yeah, that's this build. Pretty good, right? And ignore the DPS numbers. These are highly inflated because I was starting with 3% and stuff like that. Ignore the DPS. I just have the DPS there so you can see that it's pretty good. But overall, these DPS will this DPS spec and the other one will probably flatline at about 600k for me, and the Soul Conduit one will flatline at about 550k ish. So yeah, that's all of the multi-target dotting specs that I can think of right now for 2 target dotting. And for 3 target dotting, the specs that I think most Warlocks will be running is either going to be Contagion, Soul Harvest, Soul Conduit. This is going to be a really powerful one for 3 targets. I won't go into it though. The only thing you do is just maintain your Corruption and your Agony on 3 targets, and then Soul Harvest and spam your UAs with your Reap, and then just maintain high Contagion uptime outside of that. And the other build I think people will be running is going to be Contagion, Siphon Life, Soul Conduit, and the other one is going to be Absolute Corruption, Soul Conduit, Siphon. So these are the 3 builds I think that people are going to be running. I think the highest DPS output is going to be the Contagion one, while it has the most APM, and the Absolute Corruption will be the next highest one. So without further ado, let's get into these. So the way you're going to want to play this with Contagion is maintain 3 dots on 3 targets the best you can, but most likely you're only going to maintain 2 most of the time because you're going to have too many shards to deal with. So I'm just going to get my 3 dots out here. And now I'm going to start spamming those UAs. So you can see it's pretty similar to the Soul Effigy build, except with this one you're going to have more shards. And since you have more shards, you're going to have to be using less time on Siphon Life on these 3 targets and more time on just Corruption and Agony. It's a really, really strong build for multi-target dotting though. You just want to make sure that you keep your shard count low, and then while it's low, you can spend out the time to get those Siphon Lifes up and running. So let's see here, my soul shard count is starting to get a little bit lower, and now I can use that time to spam on my UAs, and I have all my dots on the targets. Let's get my Siphons back up. So now I'm going to be able to maintain 3 dots on 3 targets fairly easily because I have all of these timers going for me. And I'm going to start spamming on my UAs again. So yeah, it's really, really good to run on multi-target fighting. You're going to end up doing a lot of DPS. And yeah, so this is definitely going to be one of the builds I recommend you guys to play on 3 target fights, especially because you just gain a lot of damage for single target as well with the Contagion buff. And I can break over 700k. I could probably even break over 800k if I was really, really focused and really, really trying on maintaining my dot timers. But anyways, that's going to be the build you guys are going to be wanting to run on 3 targets. The other build is going to be the Absolute Corruption one. Very, very strong. And the way that you want to play this is you want to maintain Corruption and Agony on everything. And then you want to get Siphon Life on everything. And you should be able to maintain all 3 dots on all 3 targets with this build. And then you're just going to want to spam at UAs besides that. Like this. So yeah, this build basically plays the same way, except you don't have to worry about Corruption timers, which is going to make the build much more friendly to run and much easier to run, especially when there's tons of mechanics going on. And yeah, you definitely gain a lot of damage from your Corruptions and things like that. So this is going to be the other build I think you guys should be playing on multi-target fights. I think the Soul Harvest one will be good and will find its niche, but overall I think Siphon Life will be better. So yeah, these are the 2 3-target dotting builds you're going to be running, and the reason I'm emphasizing the 3-target dot builds is because they're going to be 3-target fights in Nighthold. Now, those are going to be the multi-target ones, and now I want to talk about Mythic Plus really quickly. So for Mythic Plus, what you're going to be running is Contagion, Malefic Grasp, Sow the Seeds, and Soul Conduit. And the reason I think you're going to be running this build is because it's going to be the best mix of AoE for trash and single target that you can get. And the reason the single target is so good is because you're only dropping Siphon Life. Now, Siphon Life single target doesn't do a whole lot of DPS for you. Yes, it does some, but it's not the major portion of the Malefic Grasp build anyways, so your single target is still going to be relatively high. Now, not only is your single target going to be extremely high, but your AoE is going to be good as well because you're going to be running Sow the Seeds. So this is a build I definitely recommend you guys running. The way that you play out on AoE is you just maintain your agonies here, and then you get your Seed of Corruption out there, like this, and you just spam along. Just keep your agonies maintained, and then Seed outside of that, and you're going to be doing really good 3-target DPS. Or even more than 3-target, right? If there's more than 3 targets available for you to dot. So yeah, this is definitely going to be one of the more powerful AoE and single target builds to run. It's going to be really, really strong. I highly recommend you guys try it out. The other build that I think will be really, really good is obviously you could replace Malefic Grasp with Wrath and Agony if you don't want to play Malefic Grasp. Malefic Grasp will be better, I guarantee it. Wrath and Agony, you could run Wrath and Agony Contagion, Sow the Seeds, Soul Conduit, you could run Wrath and Agony Absolute Corruption. There's just so many different options you could run. But I think the best build to be running for Mythic Plus is going to be this one. So that's going to cover this video. I will go into more builds in the future. I will talk about more in the future. But I think this is going to be the best overview that I could give you guys for 7.1.5 really quickly before the patch does hit and what builds you should be running. To talk about gear, Erratic Metronome is going to be an excellent trinket. It's probably going to be one of the best. So if you're looking what things you should coin, you should probably be looking to get Erratic Metronome. And with regards to stats for the 4-set, what I recommend you guys getting is going to be the shoulders will be a good piece, the cape will be a decent piece, the chest will be a good piece, and the gloves will be a good piece, and the legs will be a good piece. So basically all of them are good, decent pieces except for the helm. The helm's kind of crappy, and the back isn't too good. So if you're not running with, what is it, the portal legs, I would probably get the legs, the gloves, the chest, and the shoulders, and then leave out the helm and the cape. So those are the 4-set that you guys should probably be going for, but obviously whatever you can get is whatever you can get. So thanks for watching, guys. This has been the 7.1.5 patch video, and I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you guys later.